Rabt Oisches. So the Rebbe explained that the Hamshoche from Yosef to Malchus, to Yehuda, comes not because of the Gilui of Yosef, of Zo being able to be Nimshach, but it comes because of the Biyadoni, because of the Makabo, because of Malchus, because of Yehuda, and then Yosef Zo gets from the level of Pnimius Akeser, which is the Shadish of Yehuda. So the Rebbe asks now in Yosef, but how could it be that Zo should be Megale or should be Mashpia because of the Kabbalah of Malchus, when the whole idea of Zoh is Giluyim? And this is not because of the Giluyim, this is because of the Helm of Malchus. But sorry, Biur, need to explain this. Since what is Zoh? The whole idea of Zoh is Gilui. So it does not really fit that there should be any aspect in Zoh which is not Gilui. So how could Yehuda impact Yosef inyan the be Adoni? How did we explain the idea be Adoni, my master in me? That he should extend the flow to Malchus, not because this is a Gilu of Zoh, but because of Malchus. This is bringing down seemingly a hamshocha, to draw down something which seemingly does not fit the idea of Giluyim, and Zoh is Giluyim. So how does Zoh do something for Malchus's purposes, and not for its own, when its entire idea of Zoh is Gilui? Parshas Balis Chasanedis, Maimer in Likutei Torah in Parshas Chasanedis, V'gam Badrushim, the Parshas Vayigash, and also the Mamorim Parshas Yikat Be'inyan. Over there, we talk about Ki Avdecha Orav Es Hanar. We're talking about Yehuda saying that your servant has guaranteed the lad. So what is it teach over there in the Maimer Goymer? So what does it mean, Avdecha Orav Es Hanar? Rabbi is going to explain that Orav means also in a level of mixed arevus, mixed murav. The reason we say that Yidden are guaranteeing one for each other, responsible one for another, because they are mixed in one with another. Aravim loshin u'uravim, they're intermixed. The Rebbe will explain now two levels of the reason why we are together. One is the level of mixed, and then we also have a higher level that we really want. But first he explains that the Maimer or Orav comes from the language mixed in. The Zehu mit hataimim al zeh shekneses Yisrael nimshal hamenoira. This is one of the reasons why the Knesset Yisrael has been compared to a menorah, as we say, menorahs zohov kula, an entire menorah of gold. So the menorah has this idea of mixed up, because the way the menorah was crafted, it was made out of one piece, and we have a one piece of gold. The way the menorah was built, you have the pieces from the bottom go to the top to the bottom, so it's all mixed up. The Kamoish b'menorah nemar, just like in the menorah, it's written Miksha te'osa menorah. The menorah should be banged out from one piece. They have miksha through the miksha, which is makishim, that you bang. Also, masha lamailo yered lamato, that which is on top goes to the bottom. Umasha lamato lamailo, what's at the bottom goes onto the top. V'nis arev hakol yachat, so everything is mixed up together, the top and the bottom. Kain kol Yisrael. So this is also like all the Yidden Mu'uravim or Klulim Zebozeh. They're all mixed and they're included one from the other. Ad shelo yimtzo behem roish v'soif. To the extent you don't know where the top or the bottom, it's all mixed in that one piece of mixture of this gold that comes out. It's all mixed in. V'zehu atem kruyim Adam. This is also what it says. You are called Adam. What does it mean? You are called Adam shekol Yisrael him k'moy Adam echad. That all Yidden are just like one person. Just like one person includes all the different limbs, the different parts. So everything is together. And the Rebbe is going to explain now that these are two levels. There's one level of Me'uravim, and there's one level that they're all like one Adam, just like in the person, there's a similar way. Shloimar, we can say, this that we say that the Yidden are like one person who lemailo yoser mizeh, that's a higher level. Shekol Yisrael mu'urav zeh, in which we say that all Yidden are mixed one another. The loshen mu'uravim zeh b'zeh shayich b'dvorim mucholokim shenisarvu yachad. The language of saying mixed up one with the other applies to items that were separate that got mixed together. Same thing is when we have the first example, the case in which the menorah is made out of one piece banged out. Shehaiskalus, the mixture, that when we say that they're all together of mixture, that's in a way that you have both aspects. You have the top and you have the bottom. But they're mixed all together. The masha lemailo yered lemato, umasha lemato eile lemailo. That which is on top goes down to the bottom. What's at the bottom goes up to the top. That's the idea of muravim. That's the idea of mixture. Avol zeh shekol Yisrael hem kimoi Adam echad. But this that we say that all Yidden are like one person who lemailo is chalkus, that's higher than separation. We can say the zeh she'atem kriyim Adam hu, and this is that we say you're called Adam higam b'his achdus the evri guf Adam shnei yon. We find the same thing by the unifying of the parts of the body. We also have these two aspects. First of all, shekol ha'ivorim mashlimim zeh ezeh. All the limbs bring in wholesomeness to one of the other. Kikulam tzrichim zelozeh, for they all need one another. The k'moi sheharish mashpia b'haregel, just like the head gives its mashpia, its flow to the foot. Kein haregel mashpia b'harish. There's also what the foot gives to the head. Ubenegeya li'inyan zeh, as it negeya to that part. Shaharegel mashpia b'harish. That aspect, that area which the regel is mashpia b'harish, nikra regel b'shem rosh. Then the foot is called b'shem rosh. That's everything b'iskalus by the mixture. The top goes to the bottom to the top. But the b'iskalus zu yeshno is chalkus the rosh v'regel. In that inclusion, there is still the division of the head and the foot. Elo the kiva on shekol ever hu rosh. But since there is still rosh and regel, but every ever is a rosh. Kikol ever yesh le'malam yuchadus, because every limb has its specific advantage. From that advantage, it gives the flow into all limbs. Therefore, So how are they included? What we say they're all together. Their inclusion is if you don't find a top and an end, a top and a bottom, the head and end. So that's similar, just like by the Evorim, because each Ever has the Maila, every Yid has the Maila. By every Jewish person, there is a special advantage. Yisrael, and that advantage he gives to all other Yid. It turns out, Shekol Yisrael Mashlimim Zeh, that all Yid complete one another, Ba'ifan, in a way that you're not going to find no head and no end. Every Yid is like all these, his kalulus of the Evorim. Which means there is the idea of a Rosh and a Seif, a top and a bottom. Elo but you can't set lo yimotzi. You can't find miu Rosh and miu Seif. Who's the top and who's the bottom? Because each one has a mila. That's the one. But there's another aspect in the unity of the limbs of the body. Person. What's the main aspect is they're all part of the human body. Not because of the mila advantage of one over the other, and everybody has an advantage, but they're all part of the human body. The inyan zehu b'shove b'chol heivorim, that is an aspect which is equal by all limbs. Al derech zehu b'Yisrael, similar is by Yid that we have shekol echad miYisrael uchelik b'klal Yisrael. Every Yid is a part of Klal Yisrael. Shemitzad inyan zeh kol Yisrael etzem heim etzem echad. For that aspect, all Yidden are one essence, they're all together, all part, all. That's the main focus. It's not their mila, but it's the fact that they are all part of a Klal Yisrael. That means the Odom Atom. Yesh Leima. So we can say Darvusa shel Yehuda. When Yehuda says Avdecha Ora Besanar, that he guarantees of Yehuda and the arvus that he mixed in, that he has tied himself with a strong knot. Liyos, God forbid, in both worlds, which means that there was a special arvus over here. It was more than the usual arvus. That bigger arvus was the higher level. This is the Kol Yisrael Etzem Echad. That comes from the fact that all Yidden are really one essence, which is a higher level than just being mixed up one another. We don't know who's on the top and who's on the bottom, but they're really one essence. That's why this arvus, because it's the higher level, it's dafke by Yehuda. Why? Ki Yehuda hu bechinas malchus. Yehuda is the level of malchus. The sheirish of malchus hu bekeser. The root of malchus in keser. Hu bekeser atzmei bepnimis hakeser, in the inner keser. Shalemailum, his chalk, which is higher than his chalkus. That's why Yehuda had this higher level, because of his root and his source in pnimis hakeser. Yesh lohisif can add. Yehuda LeYosef Orav Esanar. Through Yehuda saying to Yosef, your servant guaranteed the nar. The Arvazu Oisom Mitzad Zeh Shekol Yisrael Heim Echad Etzem Echad Mamish. When Yehuda says to Yosef that your servant has Orav Esanar, which comes. Why the order, as we said, was mitzad zeh shekol Yisrael etzem echad mamash, because we're all one essence. Nimshach inyan zeh, so then that idea of that special achdus of arvus, the beginnas makif al korponim, at least in a surrounding way, can be Yosef also Yosef. And that's why Yosef could not hold himself back, and he let himself know to the brother, because he reached that higher level of achdus that comes from the fact, comes from Yehuda, which has that higher level of achdus. Test. So according to this, we can also say that Pirush Kamoicha Kifaroi, when he says Kamoicha Kifaroi, that Yosef gets the level of Faroi, Ushegam Shorshe Hamiti Dezo, Yosef, even at the level of Kamoicha, which is in his root, the root of Zo, the Zo, Yosef, who be'etzem HaKeser, is in the essence of the Keser Shalemailom Hamadrege the Keser Shu Shoyrish Azo, which is Pari, which means that the Kamoicha, Yosef's root, is in the essence, is Kipari, is in the level, that's what Keser, which is in Pari. Kamoicha is Kipari, Hainu. Shehakavone beha'atzolas zo, that what is the intent of bringing zo, being mitzel, the level of zo, begam behadarga the keser shu shoyrish hazo, and that would even apply to the level in keser, which is the root of zo, which is the chitzonis keser. Ubichdei lahashlim hakavone hapnimis. The pnimis hakeser is in order to fulfill the inner intent of pnimis hakeser, ba'al yidei sheYehuda bechinas malchus, and then through Yehuda, which is the level of malchus, sheshorshu b'pnimis hakeser. He is in pnimis hakeser. Hainu shegam la'achrei shedimshech o lemato nirkash bo hashoyrish shelo b'pnimis hakeser. What does it mean, the pnimis hakeser? Which means that even as it's been extended and came down below, you can feel in the level of malchus, you can feel the shoyrish in pnimis hakeser. Omar liYosef komoicho kefari. He's saying to you, komoicho is also kefari. Hunach inyan ze gam hunach hat sich abgelegt inyan ze gam bei Yosef. So then that made sense. He felt it in a way. V'ze poyel boy inyan bi'adoni. That impacted him. That bi'adoni sheyamshich hashefel malchus b'shvil hamalchus. That he should give the flow to malchus because of malchus b'chdei lahashlim hakavona the pnimis hakeser, in order to fulfill the inner intent of the inner of keser. So even komoicha kifare, that even in Yosef is the idea that there should be the revelation of kfare, there should be the revelation of the pnimis hakeser through Yehuda is being nimshach through being mamshich. Then Yosef gets to see the pnimis hakeser in his level, and that's why he's mamshich. Yud. V'hinei lefi biur zeh hashaychus the bi'adoni l'kamecha keparihu. So what is the connect? What does it mean bi'adoni to say kamecha keparihu? Shekamecha keparihu. Since you are like Pari, he hasiba l'inyan bi'adoni. That's the reason why you'll be mamshich, because that way you will get the Pari, the kamecha keparihu. That through that it was Munach by Yosef Shahashirish Amiti de Zoh, that the true root of Zoh, Hakavone Ba'atzola Zoh, which means the root of Zoh means why was Zoh created? Ubipnimius HaKeser. That is in the Pnimius HaKeser. So that's in the Hatzola Zoh. So that brought about that brought about that he should be mamshim the Shef Malchus because Malchus b'chdei lahashlim hakavona the Pnimis HaKeser in order to fulfill the intent of the Pnimis HaKeser, which is Kamoicho Kipare is telling that the purpose, the Hatzolas, Chitzonis HaKeser, that the reason for why Chitzonis HaKeser brings down Zoh is because of the Pnimius HaKeser. And when Yosef realize it's Munach Etzloi, so then he's Mashpia to Malchus in order to fulfill the Kavanah Pnimius HaKeser in Hatzolos Chitzonis HaKeser. But there's another explanation of the connection of these two ideas. That when Yosef will extend the Shefa to Malchus because of Malchus, not because of Gilui, but because of Malchus, Biyadoni, that in Malchus should be Adoni, Al Yidei Zeh Yeh Gilui Pnimis HaKeser. That's the way he will receive the Pnimis HaKeser. Kamoicho Kifarei, that you will be like Farei Kinal Siv Zayin. So either he'll be Mamshich, either because Yosef will be fulfilling his own Kavanah because of the Chitzonis HaKeser, as it comes from Pnimis HaKeser, will fulfill, or it's fulfilled through being mamshich to Yehuda, to be mamshich to Ayidei Begil Pnimis HaKeser. Zeh shehunach etzlo ha'inyan de'kamoicho kefarei. That the idea is kamoicho kefarei lifnei sheishpia b'malchus. We just said that on its own, there is the idea of Kamoicho Pare before his Mashpil Malchus. That wasn't in a revealed way. He put himself away to give to Malchus because that was the Kavona Pnimis. So that's why he does it. In order to fulfill the Kavona. But when giving to Malchus, that's where he gets the revelation of Pnimis HaKeser. He's doing it because now he gets stuck in the revelation of Keser through his Amshacha Biyadoi. Vezehu HaKesher de Vayigash Eilov Yehuda im Haftoira de Parshas Vayigash. And this is the connection, Vayigash Eilov Yehuda, in which he brought out earlier, we see the Maila of Yosef over Yehuda. Yehuda has to come to them, but then we took after the Pasha Yigash who over there Shalosid Love Yehuda Lamaila of Yosef. Over there we're saying Yehuda is higher than Yosef. So what's the connection? Because Kigam Hagoshas Yehuda Yosef. Because also when Yehuda comes to Yosef, it wasn't a way Shehunach Etzel Yosef Amaila de Yehuda. Yosef, really, even though Yehuda is coming to Yosef, but it's Yosef recognizing the advantage, the mile of Yehuda. We say to him, and more than that, in the beginning, he recognizes to that fulfilling the Kavanah, but later on, when he actually is Mashpia, then he becomes like a recipient of Yehuda. By giving the flow to Yehuda, Heir boy Hagilui the Pnimis al Keser. Then by Yosef came the revelation, the Gilui of Pnimis al Keser. Al derech sheyiyeh lo'asid lovoi, similar to what it's going to be in the future. Shazoy yikabel memalchus, zol be mekabel memalchus, will receive malchus, and that was right away in the Vayigash of Yehuda and the Pnimis over there. It was because Yosef recognized Yehuda's Maila, and then and recognized that he has to give him, and then later on he actually was a recipient from him. Yud Aleph. V'hine yedua habiur dekvei kedushas merichoma admur b'mamorei divra maschil v'avdi David melech aleim. The explanation of the Friedrich Rebbe in the Maimon David melech aleim that tam al zeh shemelech HaMashiach nikra b'shem David. What is the reason that King Mashiach is called David? Who kinyone shel David to anovo bittel? Because what is the aspect of David is humility and subjugation. Hagam shehoyu melech. Even though he was a king, he calls himself an Oni ve'Evyin. That's in Tilim. David HaMelech calls himself Oni ve'Evyin. And that level that we have, Novo Bittel, also is the King Mashiach. Although Melech HaMashiach will be in the ultimate greatness, the Pasuk says, that the Spirit of Hashem will rest in him, and he will teach Torah with the forefather, the Moshe Rabbeinu Shalom. He'll still be in total humility and total subjugation, to also teach very simple people. Based on what is known, this is what Mashiach is. So that means to prepare for Mashiach, we have to behave in such a way also to teach everybody that all the revelations of the future hinge on our work and our service presently. Move on, so it's understood. The matters that bring close and haste the coming of Mashiach, limud v'hafotzes haTorah, is the study and the spreading of Torah. Nigla the Torah, opnimis haTorah, the revealed part of Torah, the inner Torah. Call echot to each one, gam la noshim pshutim, even to simple people. This should be in a way of humility and subjugation, which means when you study and you spread it out, it needs to be bebitl means not because the elevation that takes place through this and the teacher and the one who spreads it out, as we know, from the students is you get more than any other, more than the teachers, more than the chaverim, but you get more. But that's not the reason. This is all because of the recipients. Like we explained in Bi'adoni, that they're doing it not for their own. Yosef is doing it not for his Giluyim, not for the Giluyim of Zohar, but for Malchus, for Yehuda. That way we bring closer and we hasten even more as Kiyum HaYiyud, the fulfillment of the promise, Va'avdi David Melech Aleim, that my servant David will be the king over them, David Avdi Nosi Lehem La'olam, and my servant David will be eternally a prince, a leader for them, Bebias Mashiach Tzidkenu, because of Mamash, with the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu very soon.